I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor to defend his cause. Maintain the honors of his word, the glory of his cross.
Hello, I'm James Brown, and on behalf of the Eastern Church of Christ located in Toronto, Canada, I'd like to welcome you to today's edition of Walking Through the Bible, a podcast where we seek to study the Bible and the Bible alone. Please stick around afterwards for information on how you can contact us. But for now, please go to the book of Genesis, and we'll turn you over to Jeremy Disocam for our study of the day.
Thank you, James, and welcome to all of our viewers. This is the 159th lesson in our study of Genesis. Yesterday we covered Genesis chapter 46, verses 28 to 34, discussing Joseph meeting his father in Egypt. If you missed that episode and would like to watch it, you can find it and all of our other podcasts on our website at www.eastendchurch.org. You can also find them on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/eastendchurchofchrist under the Walking Through the Bible Genesis playlist. Today we're going to begin with Genesis 47 verse 1 and read through verse 12. The text that you'll see on the screen is from the English Standard Version, but you're welcome to follow along with any version that you have. So let's now read Genesis 47, beginning at verse 1. So Joseph went in and told Pharaoh, "My father and my brothers, with their flocks and herds and all that they possess, have come from the land of Canaan. They are now in the land of Goshen." And from among his brothers he took 5 men and presented them to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to his brothers, "What is your occupation?" And they said to Pharaoh, "Your servants are shepherds, as our fathers were." They said to Pharaoh, "We have come to sojourn in the land, for there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. And now please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. Let them settle in the land of Goshen, and if you know any able men among them, put them in charge of my livestock." Then Joseph brought in Jacob his father and stood him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How many are the days of the years of your life?" And Jacob said to Pharaoh, "The days of the years of my sojourning are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained to the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their sojourning." And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from the presence of Pharaoh. Then Joseph settled his father and his brothers and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided his father, his brothers, and all his father's household with food, according to the number of their dependents. In yesterday's episode, we discussed how Joseph's family arrived in Egypt. They left Canaan with the approval of God, so that they could be spared from the famine that had not only hit Egypt, but had spread throughout the world. With Joseph now having his family situated, and having now spent time with his father, it was time to introduce them to Pharaoh. All of the brothers wouldn't go and meet Pharaoh, however. Joseph selected 5 of them. We don't know which 5, we just know that there were 5. Pharaoh asked them their occupations, to which the brothers said that they were shepherds, as was their father, following the instructions that Joseph gave them in chapter 46. They then told Pharaoh that they were sojourners, meaning that they weren't planning on spending forever in Egypt. They only came due to the famine. Pharaoh was pleased with their answers and agreed that they could settle in the best land, the land of Goshen, situated in the Nile Delta, later in this passage is known as Ramesses. He also offered any men who were able or hard-working positions tending to his livestock. Then Pharaoh meets Jacob. He inquires of Jacob's age, to which Jacob said that he was 130. He, however, adds something that is interesting in describing his age: few and evil. He compares his age to that of Abraham and Isaac, and he notes that they are much less. Abraham lived to 175, while Isaac lived to 180. Jacob felt that he was close to death, so compared to his relatives, his years were few. But why were they evil? Is Jacob saying that he was an evil man? On the whole, no, I don't believe that's what he's saying, for Jacob had a living, active faith in God, but he is saying that his days were filled with evil events that he himself had caused. Think about his troubles with Esau when it comes to the birthright and the blessing. The latter was the reason he had to flee to Laban. While with Laban, he was tricked into marrying Leah instead of Rachel, and although he eventually married both, the family strife it caused was immense. You had the events with the rape of Dinah, and Simeon and Levi slaughtering the men of Shechem over that, and then the sale of Joseph into Egypt. It is no wonder that Jacob didn't look back on his life with too much happiness, for he had led a rather tough life. After their conversation, Jacob blesses Pharaoh for all that he had done, and then the family settles in Goshen and were taken care of according to their numbers. With that, our time is up for today. Please join us, the Lord willing, tomorrow when we will continue our study of Genesis, beginning with Genesis 47:13.
Thank you, Jeremy. And to our viewers, we also thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Should you have a question or comment, please leave them below or email them to answerintheword@gmail.com. We'll try to respond to you as quickly as we can. We hope you'll join us, the Lord willing, tomorrow when we will be continuing on our study of the book of Genesis. Goodbye for now and have a great day.
I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, nor